Yeah.
Okay, recording will start soon. Okay, there we go. So I guess we're live. Let's see, Alex, you don't feel like going again, do you? Or Zach, do you want to go?
Yeah, go for Zach. Yeah, I'm okay.
I'll give it a try. I can't plug my piano in, but tell me how this sounds.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Wait, so is that with the Blue Yeti?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Are you cardioid or omni?
Oh, let me see.
I mean, I think cardioid is kind of the default or whatever, right?
It's actually in stereo, which I wanted to give a try.
Oh, you have the stereo version. Oh, cool. Okay. Wow. Yeah, sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Did we lose Paul? We did.
Yeah, whatever. I think so.
All right, here we go. Oh, I'm going to play the fourth movement of the Schubert B-flat Sonata.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Hope it came out.
That's pretty awesome.
Hey, John.
Nice.
No, that was amazing, man. Was that one of your recital pieces?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Or would have been if I had her set
Oh,
up.
would have been. Oh, yeah. So what? So let's see. So you had the Schubert. What else did you have? Did you have the Bach?
I didn't feel like the Bach was ready to do. I played the Bach in a bunch of master classes, but I don't feel comfortable enough playing it in a recital yet. Might be a very long time. It might be 10 years. We'll see.
Wow. That's one of those crazy ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I had the. What else did I work on? It's some Mozart, some Chopin, some Rachmaninoff. Yeah, bunch of other.
So here's the thing, man. So let's say you were to do the Goldbergs, and I guess this goes really for any piece that's kind of famous. Philosophically speaking, just from your point of view, do you think that you have to do something interesting or worthy of yet another performance? Or just, or how do you is that like, is that a burden in some sense for you? Or is it just, I'm going to interpret this piece in sort of like, Zach's way, and that's sufficient? Or do you feel a burden to somehow push the state of the art in some way?
That's kind of a big question. But yeah, I don't think you need to do that in order to play the piece. I think you could definitely just play it late at night in the dark and enjoy it. But I think for me personally, the reason to play it is to play it differently from the other recordings that are out there. Otherwise, why not just listen to the recordings? Why play it yourself at all?
Yeah. But in order to do that, I mean, does it suffice to innovate in a somewhat subtle way? Like, I think maybe last Salon, I think you did this interesting thing where typically you do the bare aria followed by the ornamented one. And I think maybe you switched it. It was like ornamented aria, bare aria. Does that constitute something like an innovation, or do you have to do something kind of insane?
Yeah, that was actually radical, and I was told it was kind of not to do it anymore.
That's funny.
But
because sometimes like so for some of these, like I've been going through these Leichte Sonaten, or like I guess it's 19 and 20 or what, basically these two Beethovens right before the Waldstein. And so, like, technically speaking, they're kind of like, they're elementary or whatever. I mean, I think they were written probably maybe for like his first or second year students. So, these little precocious kids or whatever. But occasionally though, I see these repeat signs, and I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to do something crazy. And so typically I do something, I try to do something a little bit radical just in terms of the dynamics and articulation. But I was like, you know what, maybe I should take this thing and maybe I should actually transpose it into minor. In other words, maybe I should actually do something insane. And but at some point, I guess if you innovate too radically, maybe it's just kind of like a circus. I don't know. Anyway, maybe there's some medium between radical innovation and, I don't know, something interesting or whatever. I don't know.
The thing is, you got to try the radical, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, that's how you get Gould, right? Like, radical things, and it happens to work in the Goldberg variations, and you made a career out of it. But you don't listen to him play. I mean, well, if you listen to his Brahms first concerto that he plays radically, famously slow.
Oh, the really slow one. Yeah.
Leonard Bernstein gave a speech before it saying, "I don't subscribe to this interpretation, but we're doing it for him," basically. Yeah.
He basically apologized. Yeah.
Yeah. Then sometimes it doesn't work out, and sometimes it's famously crazy like that. But I don't know. But the Goldbergs are incredible. So
yeah. Oh man, and then there was this other Mozart sonata that he did, and I forget which one it was, but he did this purposeful thing where he started the first movement incredibly slow. This was like almost absurdly largo, and instead of actually following whatever the tempo was, he just ended up doing each movement successively faster, and he sort of went from like an absurd largo to kind of an absurd like prestissimo. And he ignored, like, he basically in between, I think he ignored like the slow movements. And anyway, that's and I remember there was this interview that he did, and he's like, you know what, I'm not a performer, I'm a co-composer. That was his sort of thing, I guess, right? And so maybe in that sense, if you attack it like a co-composer or something, you know, maybe that gives you license to do something interesting, you know. But
especially with Bach, it's easy because everything we do with Bach is we're playing the transcriptions essentially whenever we play Bach on the piano.
Right.
And so you can say, I'm not really playing Bach, I'm playing my transcription of Bach, and then you can do whatever you want, pretty much. With Beethoven is harder because his piano was different from ours, but not that different. And he was very, very precise with everything that he wanted. He wrote it out. And if he didn't write something, it was because he didn't want it to happen. Like if he didn't write a staccato, it was because he didn't want a staccato. If he wrote a staccato, he didn't want a staccato. And you have to play it, like, if you don't play it exactly as written, it's not like you're disobeying him willfully, basically.
What do you think about lack of legato in Beethoven? All right, because I know, like, and I know we've talked about this in the past, but I think the default Beethoven is kind of perpetually legato with some exceptions or whatever, right? But if you actually look at, let's say, the text, it's kind of occasionally legato and mostly portato. I guess, well, not portato, just unmarked or whatever, right? And so if Beethoven is unmarked, do you think it's portato or legato?
I don't think it's that straightforward. For instance, if you look at let me see, let me grab a score real quick. So if you look at one of the early sonatas, they're more in the style of Haydn. They're very much in the style of Haydn.
Right. I think they're even dedicated to Haydn, right?
Yeah, so Opus 2, the Opus 2, I've only played number 3. But still, the articulation is very, very clear. Like, there's an articulation mark on every single one of those notes.
Right.
Yeah, I think usually even in the early sonatas they're spelled out, but
I mean, everything's spelled out, but, you know, like I said, I mean, occasionally, and I've been listening to some different Beethovens, like some Gould's Beethoven is always a little bit idiosyncratic, but I've been kind of following along with the actual manuscripts or whatever, or the actual, you know, Beethoven's actual writing. And you're right. I mean, he is precise, but legato seems to be what's the word? Sort of decisive, or he decides to sort of do legato, and like I guess I don't know if you can hear this, but there's this Sonata 20, which is. And you know that initial part, it's neither legato nor staccato. It's just kind of unmarked or whatever, right? And so my tendency is to play it detached, but then I think that sort of goes contrary to every single sort of best performance practice I've heard or read about, at least like modern performance practice. And so that's always a little bit interesting. And the weird thing about these leichte Sonaten is that he actually has no dynamics. And I think in some of, like, if you take like the Dover edition, you know, some editor basically put a bunch of stuff in there. I don't know if it's arbitrary or just, you know, whatever their taste was, but yeah, I think those two sonatas are just weird in the sense that at least the text doesn't have any dynamics, and so maybe he's just leaving it up to the imagination of his students or whatever. But I think for the most part, I think you're right. I think he's precise and deliberate, right?
I would take those notes detached because he does write out legatos and he does write out staccatos. So sort of in the middle, where it's less clear is where he has this almost Alberti bass kind of in the left hand, or the. Oh yeah. Right. There, I think I would take it more like a Mozart or a Haydn figure and almost finger pedal it. It'd be like, or maybe you could.
Right. No, I think that's a good point. And I mean, the other thing too is if you're playing it with any velocity, and this was, and I think I read this on Twitter somewhere, and I forget who said this, but some dude was like, you know what, man, just give up on Beethoven. We know what his tempo markings are, and nobody even comes close. And so the idea is that he actually, at some point, he had these really abstract tempo markings that were almost like absurdly fast. And I don't know if it's just because his pianofortes had like easy action compared to like a modern piano or whatever, but nobody plays them that fast. And I think if you do want to approach something like the velocity of his tempo markings, I don't know if you can actually play those basses. I think you have to do something like a finger pedaling or whatever, just for the sake of velocity or what. I don't know if you can continue that sort of severely articulated kind of Gouldian thing, right?
Yeah, it's true that at the time nobody could play his tempo markings, but now you hear people play the Hummer clavier up to tempo, which is never even
Oh man,
which is,
that's incredible.
I mean,
That's incredible.
People now do.
Wow.
They
Wow.
in order to.
That's insane, man. That's insane. I wonder if that's like the 40-yard dash or something, or I wonder if subsequent generations keep pushing the limits of like human abilities or something, or I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Or somehow humans keep getting faster. I guess the same thing applies to the 40-yard dash and the hammer clavier. But that's pretty funny, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, John, did you have anything today? Are you working on anything?
I have not touched the piano since before lockdown. I have no instrument.
Oh,
So,
you're kidding, man. Oh, that's sad.
Though last year, Zach did give me some excellent advice on getting electronic piano, and I think this is the perfect time to just get one.
You should get one.
Yeah. I kept thinking the lockdown's going to end in 1 month, so I have piano access again. It never actually happened.
Well, so how if an engineer says, "Hey, man, this is going to take 2 weeks," you have to like multiply the engineer's time frame by like, what is it, 10?
Right.
I forget. Anyway, if they say 2 weeks to flatten the curve, it's really like 2 years or whatever. I guess.
Yeah, in that case, I should just buy 2 of them.
Yeah.
But here's the unfortunate thing, man. Is it the case that everybody else also needs electronic piano, and are they hard to find now and expensive or not?
I think they're still findable. In fact, I think you could even go to a piano store and they're all taking private appointments. So you could just go and have the whole store to yourself and play a bunch of them and decide which one you want now.
Oh, that sounds sweet.
Yeah, and you can play some of the acoustic pianos just for fun while you're at it.
Because that's probably the kind of thing that's tough to get on Amazon, right?
Yeah. If you're ever flying through Vancouver, there's a really nice piano store in the adjacent mall. And I spent a couple hours there. It's fun.
Nice.
And then, so wait, does that mean they have to like disinfect every piano before and after? So like
they say they do.
That must be kind of painstaking.
I would just wash your hands afterwards.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex. By the way, do you want to do second Clair de Lune now that we're live or not?
Yeah, I can give it a shot.
Or wait. Did you say you also have a Chopin too?
Yeah, I have a Chopin Etude. I could give that a try as well. The Opus 10, number 3. The was it Tristesse? Sometimes it's called.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here, I'll give it a try. Let's see. Actually, I think I turned off noise cancellation when I joined, but let me just try rejoining just to make sure. Let me just.
Oh yeah. Yeah, noise cancellation filters out sound that isn't speech. Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, it was off, but okay.
It was off.
Yeah, there's definitely some like auto volume adjustment also going on. I mean, I heard it with Zach as well. So, but anyway, we'll do what we can. Let's see. Let me turn this on.
Very nice.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. Oh man, cadenza always gets me. I gotta work on that some more. But anyway, yeah. Hopefully the pedal. So is the pedal still an issue? Huh? It comes through a little bit, like noise canceling in the middle.
The pedal.
Maybe that time not quite as much, right?
Okay to me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's better that time. Okay.
I think it's because there were fewer sustained notes. It's pretty much perpetual motion all the way through. It's all 16th notes.
Yeah. Maybe the nature of the piece. Then.
Yeah. So I think it did a little bit better.
Yeah, because I guess Clair de Lune, a lot of it consists of these long sustained notes, essentially, right? Maybe that's part of the thing, right?
Yeah. It's all color.
Yeah, definitely. How about yourself, Peter? Something?
You know what? I'm just I just finish up this 20 because I'm basically trying to get to the Waldstein, which you know.
Oh, it's a good time to be working on a piece like that.
Yeah. It's just that I mean, from here on out, man. I mean, Waldstein. So 21 through 32. I mean, I don't think you really get to the Inhuman stuff until like 27, maybe. Well, I don't know. I mean, there's like, well, okay, no. Appassionata's, yeah, Waldstein's rough. Appassionata's rough. I think Les Adieux is also kind of rough.
Yeah, it's really hard.
But I think Hammer Clavier, it may be some insuperable barrier. We'll see.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, very few people, like countably many people, can play that piece.
But, yeah. And then I remember Glenn Gould did some interview with it, and he was just like, you know what, if only the public knew. And do you guys know this meme? And I don't know if it's like some character, but it's like, if you only knew how bad it was. But somehow Glenn Gould said, the public has like no idea how difficult this piece is. And if Glenn Gould is basically, if Glenn Gould is stretched or whatever, right? That's Anyway, hey, tell you what, do you guys mind if I do a quick mic check? So I have this. I have to switch mics to this, and just let me know if this works. Hold on.
It's clipping.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, you guys. You said it's clipping. Is it too soft?
Probably.
Or is it too saturated?
Turn down your input level on your mic.
Turn down the input. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try that. It's. All right, and then I just got caught by the baby. Let's see what happens. Whoa. Yeah. This cables. Watch out. She's about to pull down everything. Okay, so you're saying it's clipped in the sense that it's oversaturated. Hey, let me try one more time.
Daddy.
Yeah.
It's a little better. It could stand to go down even more, though, I think.
Yeah, something sounds a little bit muffled.
Oh, it's muffled, or it's actually saturated.
Oh,
yeah, I think exactly. I think the saturation is causing the muffling somehow.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me give it one more shot, and then if that doesn't work, I'll just do the Blue Yeti. And sorry to debug this on live stream.
Let's just go with it.
Yeah, that was better.
Good enough. Yeah.
That was better. Okay. Hold on 1 second.
John, how much are you looking to spend on your digital piano?
I don't think I'm that concerned about budget issues at this point. If it's going to go on for a while, so But now that I know I can go to stores, I might just do that.
Yeah. Try out the Yamaha Avant Grand N1. It's a really expensive, beautiful digital piano. It's the one I have, and I'll sell you mine used if you decide you like it.
Oh, nice. Are you still in San Francisco? It's,
the piano's in Berkeley.
Nice.
But I did just get a new place in San Francisco, and I'm getting a real piano for it. So
I'll check it out then.
Yeah. So check out the piano and let me know. I absolutely love it. I think it's the best digital piano on the market, but it's pricey. So let me know if you're interested.
I'll check it out. Cool. Thanks for the offer.
Cool. Yep.
And then, hey, sorry guys, you said the mic's still a little bit saturated?
I think it's good. I think it's good enough to give it a try. Good
enough to give it a shot. Okay. All right, I'll give it a shot. And then otherwise, maybe I should just Yeti. Okay, 1 second. All right. Let's see, how's that? Is that okay?
It's a little bit, yeah.
We'll just turn up our volume.
Oh, it's soft. Okay.
Yep.
So did you guys say it was too soft?
It's fine.
Seemed okay here. Yeah.
Oh, it seemed okay? Okay, perfect. All right, sorry. Okay, last time. Fourth time is a charm. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's Okay. Hey, did that come through at all?
Yeah, that's really nice.
Okay, yeah.
That's nice, Peter.
So,
that's why I didn't come back.
Oh, you know what? There is a second movement. It's it's a little minuet. Should I just get that? Was it sound okay, or should I? Is it okay if I just do the? Is it okay if I try the minuet real quick?
Yeah, try it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds pretty good.
Right, okay.
What's up?
I guess just the audio. Did the audio work, or was it a little bit off?
Yeah,
it was fine. I changed.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you changed what?
I changed my opinion on the detached notes. It felt dry. It might have been the lack of pedal. but
yeah. It is dry. It is dry. It absolutely is. And then even, and so I've just kind of been playing around with Waldstein a little bit. If you do a pedalless Waldstein, there are these like incredibly beautiful transitions to these. I mean, you're in C or whatever, right? But you're going to these crazy keys like a E major, and just these. You're going to like these. I forget what they call it. It's like these major thirds or whatever. These. Is it chromatic third, or when you go from like C to E major or whatever? But if you do that without pedal, especially in these parts where it says like dolce or like molto legato or whatever it is. God, that sounds horrible. And I think at that point, yeah, if you don't do the pedal, it's yeah, you can't even really listen to it. And I can't really listen to it. I'll put it that way. And so yeah, I think at some point.
Beethoven loved the pedal too.
What's that?
Don't we know that Beethoven loved the pedal?
Is that true?
I could be wrong,
yeah, maybe
that's
true. Maybe that's true. Maybe, especially given the moonlight and, and then, one thing I heard, which was kind of funny, there were some people that were writing some letters about some of his performances. And I guess he loved rubato to such an extent that the pieces were sometimes unrecognizable. And I think he was doing like some performance of the Pathetique or whatever. And apparently like his legato was so liberal, or sorry, his rubato was so liberal that like it sounded like a different piece. And so I could kind of see that because he's throwing fermatas here and fermatas there, and but anyway, yeah, you know what, you're right, man. And so here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. I think at some point, and if it's not the Waldstein, if it's not, I think the Waldstein or whatever, we're kind of getting into like romantic territory or whatever, right? I mean, at some point you can make the argument, okay, it's classical Beethoven. Waldstein, I think it's gotten to the point where we're sort of past, romantic was maybe like 4 or 5 sonatas ago. And I think with the romantic stuff, I think you need that pedal, right?
I would call the Pathetique romantic personally.
Yeah. I think you're right, actually. I think you're right. But especially with Waldstein, and then even things like Les Adieux, the Passionata, I think it's indispensable. So, no, you're right. It's definitely dry. But the weird thing about these Leichte Sonaten, and he threw these things in or whatever, between the Waldstein and whatever the other thing was called, they're kind of out of place, and they almost sound like a classical or like a pre-classical Beethoven, right?
Yeah.
And so in that sense, I wonder if they are a little bit dry. I don't, but yeah, you're right. Especially the minuet could use a little softening. But yeah. So yeah. But thanks anyway. Thanks, you guys. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks. We're onto the heart of the. I mean, I don't want to say the heart of the Beethoven sonatas because they're all amazing, but like. You're really
no. I mean, yeah. I just started playing around with the Waldstein a little bit yesterday, and yeah, it's a new thing. It's oh man, I don't want to say it feels like there's some burden of responsibility, but I mean, at some point, I guess with these classical Beethoven sonatas or like the lesser known Beethoven sonatas, I feel like you're kind of in a little bit of like a sandbox, and but yeah, as soon as you get into like Waldstein territory. It just feels a little bit more. There's a sense of gravity or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I'll tell you just the one thing about the Waldstein, since you're doing it, that I heard in a master class last week, is to treat the opening accompaniment as misterioso, and think of it as string players playing all of those. Beep, 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 beep,
Wow. Oh, that's really so. And that, you mean that goes for the left hand, or that goes for just the
accompaniment, pretty much all the way throughout? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, because he does a really interesting thing where at some point, that left hand or that misterioso thing, it starts to get like superimposed upon other themes, and but what's that? Is it Schubert's last piece, or there's that piece where there's this really discordant trill, like in the left hand, and is it the B minor or whatever, right?
B flat, yeah.
B flat, right. And I almost wonder. I don't want to say it has a similar characteristic, but the weird thing about it is these Waldstein chords are really low, they're in the sort of the bottom register, and he's juxtaposing them with these really things that are, really kind of high. And when your range is that far apart, there's almost this kind of muddy texture, and it's almost, I don't want to say it's like that famous Schubert trill, but I just wonder if there's something a little bit, misterioso is actually a good word, but something a little bit foreboding or just, anyway. Because the other thing too, man, is that these chords they're all pianissimo, and they're almost impossible to play pianissimo without like una corda. And so that's another thing too, man, is that do you and I think you used a little bit of una corda. I don't know if it was when you were doing the Goldbergs, but you use it occasionally, right?
I use it liberally. I don't know if I would use it here, but I do use it a lot. Oh, Alex is taking off. Bye, Alex.
Oh, hey, Alex. Hey, Alex. Thanks so much for coming, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see you next time. Yeah.
Yeah. Great to see you.
Sorry.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, good to see you. Nice to meet you guys. See you. Yeah, good to see you, Peter.
Hey, see you, Alex. But you were saying, Beck, you don't know if you'd use it for the...
Yeah, I feel like you'd use some clarity.
Yeah, you're right.
Especially, I mean, it's so stunning. The first note is empty, right? And then he fills it in.
Yeah. And then here's the other thing too. So that little grace note, which is like the what is that?
It's like a bird call almost. Like it's a flute, right?
I guess the question is, do you, and I've seen people do it both ways. It seems like people actually end up playing it on the beat, which is kind of interesting. And I guess you end up getting this minor second, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and,
that's very nice. Well, major second, yeah.
Well, sometimes I think it's maybe it's major second, but sometimes in the bass I thought you got a C, and then in the treble I thought you end up getting like a C sharp or something.
It's the B natural in the bass, yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, exactly, you're right. So maybe it is major second, but yeah, I guess that's also kind of something to play around with. That's a little bit ambiguous too, right?
Yeah, but, I'm sure people have strong opinions about that. I don't know enough to. I would just say do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm one of those. It's more about the character than the
right.
kind of a person. But
No, I think that's a good point. And and I guess there are certain, like, I don't want to call them formalities or whatever, but the way that you do a Bach versus a Beethoven trill, and what is it? I think Beethoven trill is typically like note above, and Bach starts on note of, right? And Beethoven note above, and I was always trying to figure out, are those like formal rules, or are they just sort of like heuristics or whatever?
Depends who you ask. Pompadour or Skoda feel strongly one way, and I'm sure Brendel plays it another way, and I think the if you were to ask like an early music expert, they'd tell you to do whatever you want, probably. Maybe not, but that's what I think.
I feel like the most liberal dudes in music are typically like the early music people and the modern people or whatever, or postmodern people. And I feel like in between there's a little bit of like, what do you call it? Orthodoxy or something, but yeah. But anyway, hey, so do you guys, do you want to do it again first week of August?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, I'm a little bit sad that it's usually kind of intern season or whatever, and this is when we get like the crowd. It's when we get the eclectic mix of like French horn and recorder and like trombone or just whatever random stuff. So that's a little bit, but I think there are interns around, right?
Yeah, I bet you're right.
I wonder if it's just a matter of getting in touch.
Yeah.
But And then, by the way, how are you guys generally doing, or how are you guys handling the whole work from home thing? Do you guys feel good or productive, or is it kind of you know, do you miss coming in? Are you guys happy to be home, or do you know?
I'm still getting the hang of it because I came back a few weeks ago. So.
Oh, it's only been a few weeks. Wow, man. Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Engineering orientation, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's too bad, man. We'll have to take it to the front page at some point. Or sports page. What's that?
So did you have to go through a whole virtual talks and orientation with 2,000 new people, or have they scaled it?
No, it was all recorded, which is great because I could watch all at double speed.
Yeah. The good old security talks, right? Can't miss those.
Right.
The funny thing is, are you guys in touch with anybody from your nuclear class?
No. Well, actually, that's not fair because I came in with as part of an acquisition, and so I know all the people.
Oh, okay.
Company that I was part of at the time.
But I was gonna say, I thought part of the whole nuclear thing was like it was partially social, right? And so I had still there's a couple of nuclear people that every once in a while, let's say maybe like yearly or whatever, I just kind of check in, like, hey, what's going on? Oh, you're L+1. Oh, you're L+1+1, or like whatever it is.
Yeah.
And and that kind of thing, I guess you don't get with a virtual orientation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think for me, by the time I joined Google, I already knew so many friends here that it felt like the same situation for people who do not leave home when they go to university, because they already have that social network.
That's funny.
So
did you go to school out here, or?
I went to Stanford too, same as you guys.
Oh, you're Stanford. Okay. Yeah. So you're close by. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I feel like most of the people I've met at Google have been through music. It's convenient. I don't really meet people who are my actual coworkers, because that can get
yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's funny. All right. Well, hey, listen, sounds good. So yeah, hey, John, by the way, maybe check in, let us know what happens with the piano thing, and then hopefully you get a keyboard or whatever. Yeah.
I'll see how I feel about that.
Yeah. And then, hey, by the way, Zach, it looks like you actually have access to a grant, or is that your piano?
I'm at my parents' place right now, but I am buying I'm moving into a new place and buying a piano. I actually just bought it today, so that's pretty exciting.
Oh, fantastic! Oh, did it cost about as much as a Tesla, or?
I got a used Steinway L, which is 5'11". It was recently rebuilt, and it was $25,000.
Nice.
25 grand. Wait, so the L, is that between the B and the D, or what?
No, it's smaller than the B. I think the B is like 6'7" or something like that. And this is 5'11".
You're right. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's fantastic, man. Oh, wait, but you said you're in an apartment?
Moving into a standalone place, so I'll be able to
congratulations.
whenever I want. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, because I have these neighbors. I share a wall with people, and so I end up playing crazy hours. Sometimes 5, 6 a.m. just to like get up before the kids. And nobody's called the cops yet, but I have a feeling.
Yeah.
I have a feeling there's some impact on the neighbors that I'm not aware of. And no, that's great, man.
Yeah, it's tough because everyone's working from home these days.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's great. I mean, congratulations. So maybe next Salon we'll see the new L, and then
hopefully, yeah.
That's great, man. That's great.
All
right, sounds good. Thank you, guys. See you soon. Bye.
See you guys around.